Welcome to Open Whispers channel. Sometimes when a king overreaches his boundary, his servant will remove his mask and talk to him boldly. When a secret whisper turns to open whisper, the tyrant knows that his time is up. Everybody is talking about the problem of Nigeria. It's a known thing by now. But how do we fix Nigeria? When people talk about referendum and they don't know the implications or how to go about it, I'm not sure if referendum is in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the one that we are using presently. So we need to be sure which way Nigeria is going and how to fix Nigeria. But each time we complain about the problems, the agitations, the constitution that has failed, and the one that we still adopt. But let me make this thing clear though, that the problem of Nigeria is not religion, it's not ethnicity. I don't even think it's the constitution is the problem of leadership. Because even if you bring the best constitution in the world and put it in Nigeria, with the same crop of leaders, or with the mindset of even the ordinary Joe on the street, it will still not work. Because it's still the same people, still the same attitude, still the same goals, still the same dreams, and worst of it all, still operating under a decayed value system. And this is why when Professor Charles Soludo, the governor-elect of Anambra State, spoke a few days ago and said that the problem of Nigeria, the solution to the problem of Nigeria should start from the regions, from the clans. And it resonates with what I've been saying. Whenever that man speaks, it gives me joy. You see what I mean by capacity. Capacity should not be measured in terms of money or how much you've stolen from the public fund. Because that is what a Nigerian politician knows at capacity. And is denying Nigeria of her best brains in terms of leadership. When people talk about if you want to get involved, that you should go and pick up a form and run for an office, I shake my head. In Nigeria, where the best people are not given the opportunity, is it just to show up or to run and make an impact? It's the story of another day. So I am proud of Charles Soludo when he said that fixing Nigeria should start from the region. And I think he's correct. That's why I celebrated when he won the election, because I think he knows what he's doing. But the only place I have a few things to say is the number of people in the transitional committee. I think is a little bit overbloated. I want Professor Charles Soludo to research and see what Governor Baseke of Edo State did in his first tenure. When it was like you wake up in the morning, you see a new thing. That was his name then. It wasn't making noise. And again, let your government, Professor Charles Soludo, be inclusive. That you are saying people should come and write exams in order to be nominated as a commissioner or essay. I think that is good, but it's a little bit on the academic side. I want to see a government where the man as a trader in the Onitsha market will be given the opportunity to be commissioner for trade and industry, because he knows how to transform the Onitsha market or the Nnewi motor parts into something big that can attract investors from the world. If you bring somebody from Cambridge to become commissioner for trade and industry in Anambra State, that person may not do well. I believe in being practical. And also, it's not really all about certificate. Governor Ayade of Cross River, I think, is a professor. But so far, one would have thought that Cross River would have been transformed by now. But every day, during budget presentation, we hear big words, you know. That is not development. So I hope you are taking note. I'm going to be on you. I'll follow you. And also call you out when I think you are going too much on the elite side. We want practical solution to Nigerian problem, to the regional problem, to Igbo problem. How you consolidated the banks during your tenure as Central Bank Governor of Nigeria impressed me. And I think if the successive governors of Central Bank have followed their track record, or your presidents, I believe Nigerian economy will not be in shambles the way it is today. But I also listened to IPOB'S Equesili. I was also impressed. The only problem I have with people like Obi and the rest is that they have been around so much on the arena. When a masquerade stays too long on the arena, the uninitiated will throw sand at it. I say that again. When a masquerade, like the Ijele, stays too long on the arena, the uninitiated will throw sand at it. Sometimes, some of these politicians, Bola Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar, Kwakwanso, Rocha Sokorocha, name them, they have been around too long. Beautiful people, they have their, give and take, but they have stayed too long in the arena. That I think the most reasonable thing to do will be to give room to the new generation of leaders. The Vice President Osibanjo echoed what Professor Charles Soludo said sometime a few days ago when he said that Nigeria needs a liberation movement. I agree with you. Osibanjo called it new leaders. You can't be circulating the same people or the same leaders that have messed up Nigerian economy today, and you think it's only them that have the solution. The answer is no. You can step aside, be advisors, so that the person you are advising will decide whether to take your advice or not. I'm not saying you don't have roles to play again in fixing what you messed up. You have roles, but I think it's time for you to step aside. Today, my brother Rocha Sokorocha also declared for the #1 seat. And when he was being interviewed in one of the Nigerian television channels, he was asked about the 2.9 billion that EFCC is accusing him of stealing from public fund, and he danced around it and smiled. I think it was on yesterday's Politics Today again that one of the former northern governors was also asked again about the arrest that the EFCC effected on him and the wife. But he dismissed it again and said that it has something to do with one of the companies. Again, corruption. Who among these leaders today will come out and say that they have nothing hidden in their cupboard? Nigeria needs new leaders if we must progress. Our problem is not constitution. It's not a referendum per se. It is having new generation of leaders, that we have a paradigm shift from what we are doing today or where we are going as a nation. We need a change. But having said that, let me briefly dive into what I think we should discuss today in our arena. Open whispers. You know, whenever we gather here, we say it the way it is. And that is the issue of who is working against Nnamdi Kanu. And are we dealing with the unknown gun politician or unknown gunmen. Who are these unknown gunmen? I want to boldly say that with the turning of events in the country, that this agitation coming out from here and there is as a result of bad leadership. Who is free in Nigeria? Nobody. Now the Kanu will be released either by this administration or by the next administration. It's something that everybody knows. We are talking about political solution here, which nobody is against. But then, if you listen to the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, when the elder statesman from the southeast visited him, Mbazulike Amechi, he said, there will be a political solution if MAZI Nnamdi behaves himself. Even in his last interview, he also said the same thing when he said he will allow the court to follow due process to get to the end. We all know where he's dancing to. And at the end, he also had a little caveat. I said there will be a political solution if he behaves himself. Now, behaving himself is not a continuation of declaring sit at home every Monday. IPOB is saying they are not responsible, they've cancelled it. But businesses in the southeast are still crippled every Monday because of that declaration. The continuation of action in the southeast is working against Nnamdi's release, in my opinion. That is not behaving well. But since it's not coming directly from him, who is doing this? Who is continuing or has continued to churn out this false narrative or false rhetorics that is working against this young man and his release? The question I am asking is what has made our elder statesman, Mbazulike Amechi, to even threaten that if sit at home will continue in the southeast, that he will pull out of the talk to free MAZI Nnamdi. Who is doing this? The political killings in the southeast has continued. The maiming, the terror has continued. Will I work for Nnamdi's release or against his release? If we can answer these questions, it will really help us to know the origin of this young man's problem. Because I believe that we shall talk when finally he's released. And I hope he'll be released very soon. But who are those working against him or working against the people of the southeast? The issue of Eastern Security Network and all they have been accused of doing, burning down houses, killing policemen, burning down federal presence in the southeast. If you are complaining of lack of federal presence in the southeast, do you think burning down the few that are there will mean working for the interests of the people or against the people? Look at what the mayhem that took place before the Anambra Guba election, where even Dr. Chika Akunyili was killed. Do we have security agencies in Nigeria? And the answer is no. I mean, the answer is yes. Who are the killers of Chike Akunyili? Who killed the APC stalwart in Imo State, Galek? I believe they are all human beings that are still living. Are there Eastern Security Network? Or all these things are political killings? Who are those unknown gun politicians that go in the name of unknown gunmen? What do you mean by unknown gunmen? What has IPOB got to do with politicians? Who is masquerading as unknown gunmen when in the actual sense it is known politicians perpetuating all these crimes in the southeast? Who hijacked IPOB? Who are the charlatans perpetrating all these heinous crimes in the Southeast, putting fears among the people. Is it unknown gunmen or unknown gun politicians? Who has something to lose or to gain by perpetrating all these crimes? If by now the security agencies have not come out with names of those politicians responsible for the killing and destruction in the Southeast, where are we heading as a nation? It's only when we can answer these questions and unmask those behind these crimes that we can say it's either IPOB or the Eastern Security Network. But until then, I presume Nnamdi Kanu will remain innocent until proven guilty. Who is working against Nnamdi Kanu's release? And who is committing all these crimes in the Southeast in the name of IPOB, in the name of Eastern Security Network? Who actually wants to destroy Southeast? Everybody should open their eyes. We should be our brother's keeper. What has happened to the values that we as a nation cherish? Why are we destroying ourselves in the name of politics? This is Open Whispers. Remember to subscribe and leave your comments in the comment section. Share the video and don't forget to hit the like button. Until we meet again in this particular arena, in the words of a famous American writer and presenter, be well, do good work, and please keep in touch. Thank you and God bless.